Good morning, everybody. I am here with Jordan Samuel, skincare guru from Seattle. Some of you met us yesterday, which was a really fabulous time that we had together. It was such a buzz. I think the noise levels probably alarmed hopefully most of the staff in Liberties as to what the competition was across the way. So what we'd like to do today is answer some questions that you might have about skincare, and also maybe you can just eavesdrop into the sort of conversations that we've been having completely non-stop since we got together on, when was it? Sunday at lunchtime. Yeah. And I think we've bored both Ben and Kevin to tears because we just do not draw breath. And we won't be doing it until we put them both back on a train this evening and send them back on their way to enjoy their holiday. So, over to you, Jordan, to say hello.
Hi everybody. For those of you that came out to the event, we are both so grateful, and it was amazing and wonderful, and felt like 3 hours just flew by. And while we had the chance to, I think, talk to most people, there were still more questions that needed to be answered.
Yeah, lots more.
And still more things that needed to be addressed, whether it was product related or skin related or treatment related. So we're here today to answer some questions that we have received through Instagram, and some from the event too that sort of are carried over. But should we dive in?
I think we should. Let's start with the first one to warm us up.
Okay.
You pick it up because you're better with technology than I am.
I'll just go in order. So this was, if Jane and Jordan could have a facial by anyone in the world, who would they choose to have it from?
Okay, this one is interesting. Of course, I haven't as yet had a facial from Jordan Samuel. So it's going to involve a rather expensive flight, but I do think that that should happen in the next 12 months, if that's okay with you. Thank you. I don't know the answer to that question. I think I'd probably like a facial from somebody who's just coming onto the market, so doing new things, doing new techniques, so that I can learn. It's always good, I always say as a therapist, steal a stroke and feel a stroke. So it's like, think what they're doing, try and enjoy the facial, and then think, I think I might try and incorporate that into my facials. So I'm going to say my best facial I ever had, and maybe I started at the top, was from Eve Lom, about 30 years ago. It was just the most amazing facial, and she taught me a lot. She taught me a lot about less is more. I was expecting to have to spend pretty much my entire savings on product at the end of the facial, but she said, no, use my cleanser, stick with that, any emergencies. There are a couple of other products, but it really was a lesson in find your core group of products and stick with those. So Eve Lom is the best ever facial I've ever had, and probably will ever had, except for current company, which will happen in the next 12 months, and then I'll let you know how that was. Jordan.
Yeah, this is tough. I've been lucky to have facial from many wonderful people, including Jane, which was heavenly.
I paid him to say that.
No, it really was, and my husband Ben had one too, and it was fantastic, and I got to watch her do the treatment, and I got to have one on myself, and it was just truly heaven. Like, I went into outer space, so that was, I always take that as a good sign. But for me, I would probably go to someone I haven't had one from yet. So I've had many great facials from many wonderful facialists, but there are two that I am close with that I have not been able to have one from. One of which is Renee Rouleau, who I just think she is a wealth of knowledge and amazing, and I haven't had the chance to have one from her yet. But then separately, I would also look somewhere, like you were saying about, so I would either go in the direction of somebody who does facials like me, or somebody on the completely opposite end of the spectrum who's using every latest gadget and technology, and something that I wouldn't normally do. I know that doesn't directly answer the question, but I think there are so many great facialists, and everybody's doing, and of course, I think both of us would say Caroline Hirons. I think without a doubt.
Yes, no, I'd love to do that.
Just because of hello, but I agree with you. I think somebody who's sort of newer onto the scene, and or somebody who's playing up technology and doing a little bit different than we do. Maybe
challenging us, because I think it's very easy to stick in your same comfort zone. I tend to just stick with very few products and deep tissue massage. I don't use any form of appliance really, but that doesn't mean to say that I don't think that they're stunning and fantastic. But I don't get to front them very much, so therefore I would, if somebody launched something in a brand new technique, I think let's give that a go and see if it really works.
And that's also a great point too, is that just because we aren't, and this also relates to products, just because we aren't using something or doing something doesn't mean we also think it's fantastic. And I think sometimes people get confused of, oh, they're hands-on, they're against technology or machines. No, that's just not what we do in our practice. And same thing with ingredients. Of course, we're using things that we think are absolutely the best and special, and yes, but just because we're not using something doesn't mean we completely hate it.
Yeah.
Next question.
Next question.
Did we answer that well?
I think so.